I'm expecting to look for a queen, right? And when in the previews, they showed this giant xenomorph, and I was like, oh, that's the queen. So I'm looking for her being the queen who has all these pods. And they even showed the pods in the preview, or the trailers and stuff. So, like, I'm looking for this other person, and maybe David's just living among them. I don't know, you know. And when he first shows up in the hood and everything, I'm like, oh, this is, you know, that's, I don't know. So I don't know if I necessarily like that. I didn't really like David being the villain and then Walter being the hero at one aspect either. I thought that was kind of weird because Walter wasn't really the hero at one, you know, on the other side either. Like, that was. I
mean, he failed ultimately.
He did, but they didn't even show that scene. Why did he even fail, or did they trade places?
Good point.
Right, because he was trying to convince him during that fight, and they just panned off of it. So was that open ended? Like, what are we supposed to get out of that scene?
Good point. Yeah.
And you know, and then I was reading some trivia on actually that too, because I was really interested in that point. Apparently, they did show a scene where Walter could somewhat self-generate. Like, when he cut himself, and he could self-generate his face. David could not. And so when he cut his face, they had to stitch up his face. And that's how you're supposed to tell that was David. Like, so early on, when they were stitching up David's face, that should have been a trigger to everybody. Hey, that's David. I didn't actually, that's my other third point. I didn't really like the fact that they were trying to get you to guess between David. That's just too cliche for me. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Come on. Like, we've seen that how many times already? Like,
that's way too many times.
Too many times. Like, we already know the motivation's there. It's an alien movie. We know the alien's going to get out, especially if you're building towards alien. Like, you know, give us some other way to end this. And I do think it's interesting that David's the engineer for the xenomorphs. That was interesting to me, and they showed him kind of learning anatomy and, you know, genetically modifying this virus and all of the planet to get to finally the xenomorph, which apparently works best with humans. Like, that's why he wanted humans, because that's where the xenomorph comes from. The neomorphs were from those small little particles, but the xenomorph actually came from inside, right? From those pods.
So I thought that mystery was really interesting.
You know, it finally revealed why you need humans, or humans are the best. But again, to your point, where's the queen come from?
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be interesting as well. So I don't know. I mean, you know, and the cons are hard because it's an aliens movie. I wish they would have tied up more in this one. And what I was saying before earlier, the non spoilers, did it really add new information to either the Aliens movies or the Prometheus? I don't know if it really closed or answered more questions than it did. Like, it talked a little bit about the engineers.
It answered some questions, not all.
I don't know if it really closed anything. Yeah. So, I mean, it was entertaining, though. Anyways.
Yeah.
Elvis, how about you?
I would definitely say a big con for me was the trailers. The trailers for this movie. Like, I knew exactly how everyone was going to die, I felt like.
Yeah, very good point.
Like, in the shower scene, I'm like, they die right now. The back with the guy with the spine, he's dying right now. Like, it was just way too much where I was like, I wish I could have stayed away from these trailers because it was just, like, way too many spoilers. Like, they just gave away too much. And it's like, they shouldn't have at least showed when David shot that flare.
Yeah.
I was like, that's David.
Yeah.
They want you to think it's someone else just because they put a hood over him. Like, who else is it going to be? Like, it even looks like a guy. Maybe you think it's Shaw, but it's not Shaw.
No.
Or maybe you even think it's an engineer, but it's not an engineer, you know? But that was a big con for me. They gave, like, it was like how Jesus was saying, it was way too predictable. I felt like this was like scene for scene, I'm like, oh, this is happening. I could sense it. I'm like, this person's dying in like a minute.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I mean, it's an aliens movie, and it's like, you kind of know what you're getting into when you get into an aliens movie. Like, okay, they're going to die. There's going to be one person left, you know? But that was a big one for me. Another con was Daniels, Catherine Waterston. I did not.
Yeah.
I like what you guys were saying. Like, I felt like her character shift was way too abrupt. Like, it was just like the whole entire time, like halfway through the movie, you see like she's like vulnerable, crying, like all this, and like out of nowhere, like right after Walter saves her from David, it's like she just changes. She's a badass out of nowhere. She's like fighting the alien on the ship. I'm like, wait, what? Like, you were just supposed to be vulnerable, and now you're just a badass. Like, you're just like, I don't even care.
Yeah, but bro, James Franco died.
I know.
Like, we were all vulnerable
I know,
after that.
But it's like,
no, I'm just kidding.
I was like, but that
they
was
didn't even show their relationship. Like, why are you supposed to be so sad? Like, they never even showed those two together.
I mean, they tried with like the cabin and the lake and stuff, but it was kind of pushing. I mean, I know they have to like, there's a whole crew, so you got to get screen time for everybody. But it was, if it's she's supposed to be your main character, that's why in this movie I felt like the main character was Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
Walter and David.
It was. Yeah.
Like I felt like how I was saying, like they had the most character development.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Billy Crudup?
Billy Crudup, I thought he was the biggest retard of the bunch.
Yeah.
This guy was like way too much. He's like, go ahead, look. And he's just like looking in like...
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the alien pod? Yeah.
Yeah.
The face hugger.
I'm like,
Let me put my
really?
face in there.
I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, I assure it's safe. It's like you just saw this lady die, and David was trying to talk to this freaking alien.
I know, bro.
And he's
Very
like,
good
"Yo,
point.
I'll go with
That's
you."
a very
Yeah.
good point. Yeah.
I was like,
He just led you down to a dungeon.
yeah, Billy Crudup. I have a feeling Billy Crudup, because Billy Crudup is a good actor, and I was like, I felt like he was probably like, okay, well, this is a paycheck. I'm like, let me just be this retard in this movie.
And like the whole time, he's like they're trying to play it out like he wants to be a captain, he wants to be respected and all that stuff, but he has fear.
And that
doubts.
part when they're like, they never made me captain. I'm like, this is why they didn't make you captain. You're just a retard.
He just made bad decisions.
He made
every
literally
time.
the worst decision of the movie, saying like, no, let's not go to the planet we're supposed to go. And the stupidest reason, nobody wants to get back in those pods. I was like, really?
It's a good point when you say that, because like Daniel, she brought it up. She's like, we should go to Orgai 6. We've been preparing for Orgai 6. It's a great callback to Aliens 1, because like the whole time Ripley in Aliens 1, she's the one following protocol.
Yep.
And the whole crew is like, nah, we gotta do something about it. Yeah,
I know.
exactly. It's like what you're saying.
It was kind of stupid because
then
their reasoning was like, nobody wants to get back in the pod for 7 years. Like, really, you're gonna be asleep, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, that was too much for me. But so yeah, her character was a little too abrupt. They tried to like, I feel like halfway through the movie, Ridley was like, wait, you're supposed to be Ripley. Come on, like rip off Sigourney Weaver. And it's like, okay, like let's make her badass so she can end like on this high note that you're just like, yeah, I loved her. Yeah. But for me, I don't know. It didn't get there for me.
Yeah. And did you catch the crane? Like how she fought the crane with the crane?
Yeah.
When Ripley fought there,
I was waiting for that line.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. It was kind of that was weird. For me, the end twist, I saw that thing a mile away.
Yeah.
I saw it right when he cut his hair. I was like,
yeah, exactly.
You're cutting your hair
to look like Walter.
Yeah. Because it's like, I mean, if Walter wasn't there, he probably would have kept the hair. But it's like, okay, let me cut off my hair so I can look like this guy. So I saw that coming from a mile away. And like how you said, it's so cliche, like where it's just like it's twin, and it's like, oh my god, which one is he? You know? And I was like, ooh, right away. I saw that one a mile away.
And if Walter's so much smarter, how did Walter not see this? Like, you were the upgrade. Like, the whole time he's preaching, I am better, I'm smarter, I'm stronger, blah, blah, blah. How did you not see this coming?
I feel like they did that because they were like, well, humans have more of an instinct. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, and Walter didn't have that instinct. He was more robotic, more...
logical.
Logical, like more stats. And Walter and David was like, no, I got to take a risk. And he took that risk, and it paid off for him. But or
did he?
Yeah. Well, let's see. I don't know.
Kidding. Sorry.
No, but that one was good. A big con was I wanted more answers on the like where the engineers and how they created the humans and stuff like that.
Agree.
Like
and why do they want to weapon?
Yeah. Why what you guys were saying, like for me, like that was an interesting part. That's why I like Prometheus so much. Because I'm like, it's a little different, you know. It's a different take, and like you said, like a lot of people didn't respond great to it because a lot of people wanted the aliens and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they tried, like you could tell he tried to like tie it up a little bit better, but it just didn't work. But so that's why I'm hoping in the next couple movies we'll get maybe more of like a backstory, maybe some flashbacks, something like that. But
yeah,
that was for me. And also what you were saying, because I thought about that, because about how David he created the xenomorphs, he created the alien like that, but I think maybe he was envious of Guy Pearce's character.
He was pretending
because
to be
he's I'm a creation, so he's like, let me keep this cycle going and let me create something, which I kind of did like that about that. I like that they develop his character where he's like he hates humans. He doesn't see that they're worthy of anything.
He pitied them. Remember?
He pitied them.
Right.
So he's like, let me create a higher form. And he created the alien, and xenomorph, which is the highest form, pretty much. But
I mean, they were engineered to kill, humans, right?
Literally.
And one scene was interesting too with David and Walter. They were like, the whole
kissing.
Oh my god, I forgot about
so
that.
awkward.
Yeah, that scene,
awesome.
That scene was like a little like maybe give him a hug.
That was weird.
It was a little weird bromance. Right?
Maybe he was like trying to throw him off so that he wouldn't realize what was happening.
Bromance with himself.
Yeah. But like, there was an interesting scene before that. There was like he's like, we can do everything in the world except create. And I think David really wanted to create something.
Yeah.
It was all about creation and all that stuff.
And especially since he was alone, he had no purpose anymore. He didn't have a duty, like what Walter was saying.
Yeah, exactly. And so then he wanted to kiss him.
Yep. Yeah. There you go. That was his duty, to kiss. So those were definitely all my cons. I mean, the movie. I guess we could start going into
before. Right?
Yeah. Before going into this movie,
let's talk about the ranking system.
Yeah. Talk about the
ranking system. You want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Or who wants to talk about it?
I'll let Mike take it.
All right. So, we have a ranking system where we say we're going to see something. We're going to see a film opening night, which we rank at 95% or higher.
Yeah, highly anticipated.
Highly anticipated. We're going to see that opening night. It's 95% or higher. Then we say opening weekend, where we're talking 90% or higher. Yep. Right? Mm-hmm. And then we say no rush, no crowd. And when we say no rush or no crowd, we're usually giving something within. You should probably go see that within the first 2 weeks of its opening release, right? And that's usually about 80% or higher.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to give the movie. At that point, we're saying, after that, we're saying, get it on DVD. Wait for it to come out on DVD, Blu-ray, things like that. Add it to your collection, but you don't necessarily need to go see it in theater. And I think that one we're giving 70% and higher, right? Mm-hmm. And then to coin Jesus's fun fact or fun trademarked. You heard that, trademarked dumpster fire. Mm-hmm. This is anything below 70%, below 70%. It's not worth seeing, right? Yeah. We don't go see it.
It's not a passing grade.
It's not a passing grade. You don't want to pass with that. It's dumpster fire. Don't even add it to your Blu-ray collection. Mm-hmm. It's not worth seeing. Yeah. Maybe watch it on TV. Yeah, don't even watch it on cable because you have to sit through the, commercials and all that. It's not worth seeing. It's dumpster fire. Yeah. So go light it on fire. So that's our scale, just so everybody knows. Mm-hmm.
So I guess we can go into our original scores then.
Yeah, our original scores before we saw the movie. Mm-hmm. Where was this on everybody's list of top 10 this year?
I think mine was in my... Was it my top 5? I think mine was in my honorable mention, actually.
Yeah, it was honorable mention. It was in my...
It was on my honorable mention as well.
Yeah, so it was. So we could say it was pretty highly anticipated in terms of a whole year of films.
It's within the top 10. I think it was with the lower half of the top 10.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. My original score for this movie before seeing it, it was opening night for me. I feel like any of my honorable mentions are still opening night, and this movie I was really looking forward to it, just from what Prometheus had given me and the previous Alien movies. And when I heard it was going to be a mix, I was already sold. I'm like, I'm watching this opening night, but that was mine. What about you, Jesus? What was your original score?
My original score was opening night as well. Mm-hmm. I was really excited for this movie after watching Aliens 1, Aliens 2, and then Prometheus. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was up there on my list too. It was in my honorable mentions. It didn't make my top 5, but it was still there.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
This was definitely opening night for me based on both Aliens, Prometheus, and Ridley Scott's track record. I mean, Blade Runner. You look at all of his track record as far as Ridley Scott. This was opening night for me, just on those alone.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, all right. So then we'll go into our score after watching the movie. Right?
Yep.
So my score after watching the movie, I would give it a no rush, no crowd. If you're into these movies, you will watch it. You'll watch it in the theater. It's a great movie to watch in the theater. It's beautiful. The cinematography, the Michael Fassbender. There's a lot of pros, but I feel like there's a lot of cons and a lot of questions that you will still have, which is why I think you should just give it a little wait. That's just my opinion, of course. I watched it opening night, so just for you guys, I would definitely say no rush, no crowd. What about you, Jesus?
Yeah, I would say no rush, no crowd also. I was really excited for this movie. It wasn't a bad movie.
No.
It had some good things in it. The CGI, practical effects, and all that stuff. The wide shots, the scenery was beautiful. The immersive world. The xenomorphs looked really cool. Michael Fassbender was a plus, and Danny McBride was really good also. Mm-hmm. But like I said, the answers.
You're the one that said that.
Yeah, I was. McBride. I think for me it was good, but yeah. Mm-hmm. What was I going to say? You threw me off. But yeah, some of my answers or some of my questions weren't answered, which is pretty much my con for the movie, my biggest one. And then, yeah, I mean, if you're in it to watch James Franco, I'm sorry, he's a rotisserie pretty much in this movie.
Pretty much.
But yeah,
it's no rotisserie.
Yeah, exactly, a little overburnt. Yeah, it's no rush, no crowd for me though. So, Mike, what do you got?
I'm torn I want to say opening weekend, but late opening weekend. I really do. Like, say